All right, I'm back with another video here in my garage, and today I'm going to be talking about this. What is it? Basically, it's what's left of a Ferrari 360 that had caught on fire. And why did I buy it? Well, several years ago, I used to have a Ferrari V12. It was a '78 carbureted engine here in the garage, and the story of that is I found a '78 Ferrari 400 for sale, and it happened to be in Colorado. I called the gentleman up. He still had it, but he was being bombarded with phone calls. I mean, just a ton. And really, he had people trying to call him to park the car out or give him some, really low ball offers on the car. And I can tell he really loved the car. And long story short is that he was a retired engineer for John Deere. I think he said he traveled all over the world and stuff like that. He bought the car as a barn find, and then basically he wanted to restore it. And so that's what he was doing. He had the car for like 9 or 10 years. The car was actually in very good condition. The body, it needed to be painted. It had a couple small dents here and there, but it really was in good shape. No major rust or anything on it. The engine, he had completely tore it down, disassembled it, and then proceeded to clean up the parts. And he was like spray painted some of the parts, like the valve covers and parts of the engine. He spray painted silver, and he put some of those. They're kind of like the imitation braided line kit. He put some of that on part of the engine, but he was really putting a lot of effort into kind of cleaning it up, and then hopefully get it back running one day. Unfortunately, he got very ill, and I can't remember the illness he had, but I know he said his hands were shaking really bad, so he couldn't really work on the car anymore. And yeah, that's just horrible. But he decided that he probably needed to sell the car because his health was declining. So that's where I came in. I saw the car online, called on it. Like I said, he was getting so many calls on it that the car, if I waited any longer, the car was going to be gone. So he sent me several photos of it, and I could see some of the stuff, but not all of it. But I decided to take the risk and go ahead and purchase a car. So I wired him the money without even really looking at the car. I had to because it would have been gone. So that's what I did. And then what I did was I asked him if I could come see it. He said, sure. So I went ahead and booked the next plane I could get out to Colorado, rented a car, and drove down towards New Mexico, out in the middle of nowhere. There was nothing out there. And then got to see the car in person. We went through all the pieces and stuff, and I felt comfortable with the purchase, and then flew back home, and then had the car shipped back. Stored the car outside, had it covered up, and then the engine, all the parts that I could find, just bring them all inside, and then assembled them all together, and then just to see what I had, and if there was any pieces missing. I think I probably called him once or twice after that, looking for certain parts, and he was looking for them. Just very, very small parts. Like I said, I just put together the parts that I had, and then that was it. And basically, most of it was there. And then I'll put some pictures of it right here. But it looked like it was in very good condition. Everything looked really good on it. I think it was actually it could be put back together and get running again. So all the internals look good and everything. And I was going to redo the engine and put it back to factory, all the factory finishes and stuff like that. So I had it here in the garage for several. Well, my plan was to get on it right away. Made a list of the stuff I needed for it to get it going, and some of the parts that were broke that were on there. I replaced those, but working a full-time job and working on these other Ferraris and stuff during the weekend, that years went by, and I didn't realize how much time had really went by. So I come to the conclusion that I didn't have enough time to finish this engine, and I'm probably going to get rid of it. And also, it was just massive. It was just, especially with the headers on it and stuff, it was just massive, and it took up a lot of room. So I sold it, and I thought, that would be the end of it. And a guy in broker down in Orlando bought it, and that was it. So I said, if I ever had I get to a bigger place and have more room, I would want to have another engine, but have it as a display or something like that. That'd be really cool. Build, like a custom mount for it, like a cradle with wheels on it, and have it as a display. So that's that's why I have this here now, because me and my wife are, after a lot of hard work, we're very fortunate enough to be able to get another place built with a bigger garage. So that's my goal for this engine, is to have it as a nice display. But you never know; it might go even farther than that. Who knows? So what I'll do now. Oh, one thing I have to mention is about 6 to 8 months later, I got a phone call and somebody left a message on my phone. So when I finally seen it on there, I looked at the number. I didn't recognize it. Come to find out it was from England. And then, so I ended. The guy said his name was Bob, and he left a message saying that he purchased my '78 Ferrari 400 and had it shipped to England. I was like, holy smokes, that is so cool. So I ended up calling the guy back. We talked for hours, and then come to find out, we were talking about the car, and he had a bunch of other project cars he was working on. So, but near the end of the conversation, he told me that he used to be the motorcycle mechanic for John Surtees, and I was like, holy smokes, that guy's like world famous. I think he's still to this day the only guy to have won world championships on four wheels and two wheels. I think he won, don't quote me on this, I think he won like 4 world championships racing motorcycles. And I think he won 1 world championship racing Formula One for Ferrari. So yeah, that was so cool talking to him, and just a super nice guy. But I told him, I've been to Goodwood before, and he said he didn't live too far from there, from what I could recall from the conversation. But he said if I ever got a chance to get over there, get a hold of him, and I can come over, and he would show me all of his projects and stuff like that, and we would sit down and talk. So yeah, if I ever get a chance to do that, maybe I can see if I can record that, and then we'll post that up on YouTube or something. But anyway, let's go ahead and I have the engine sitting under the 4-post now. I've got 3 other Ferraris in here, and it's just I don't have any other room to put this but under this 4-post. So let me get close to it, and then I'll show you what we got. Okay, so I'm close enough now, and the light actually came on my phone here that I'm using to film with. So now you can kind of get a better shot. It is a mess. Wow. Look at this. And actually, I think the car burnt all the way down. At least the back part of it did, because I think this engine actually burnt through and broke the frame, and then actually was probably sitting on the ground. That's just by looking at. There's part of the frame right there of the Ferrari. So I wouldn't doubt if that happened. I don't think the back was, because I see where somebody. I don't think so. It looks like somebody might have cut it or something. I don't know. Could have broke off, but that's what it looks like. So it was a mess. And another thing I noticed too, if you look, here are the supports for the rear hatch, the engine cover. But there's one here. You can tell it. Look at the engine. It just burned off and just dropped right here, and then the other one dropped right there on the opposite side. That's crazy. I just did that. Wow. Yeah, it got really, really hot in here. This is a mess. Look at this. Wow. But if you look right here, this is what got to me to where I'm thinking I could probably get this thing running again. But if you look really close, the surface right here, there used to be a cover that's right over this edge right here, or the back part of the head here, that covered the end of the camshafts. Well, here's what's left of it. It just melted away. But the surface right here, the mating surface for that cover, actually looks really, really good. Once it's cleaned up, it's actually nice and smooth and flat. So I think the cylinder head actually survived, and I think it's still good. Of course, I won't know until I tear it down and check it, but that's very promising there. And then let me see if I can see in here, inside the cylinder head. It actually looks really good. Of course, there's some smoke damage here. I wouldn't call it damage, but on the camshaft, but that could be cleaned up. That's nothing there. Let me see what's in here. I don't know if I can get the camera in here to look, but yeah, Can't really see too much. But I bet you in here it probably looks great. Inside this valve cover, once you pull it off, it probably looks really, really good in there. So I'm thinking the cylinder heads are still good. The block is still good. And then the gearbox, I think, is still good. All the guts of it inside, I think everything's probably going to look really, really nice inside there. It's just the outer part here that's got all this parts of the engine that are melted and going everywhere. So what I'm going to do is I'll clean up all this stuff here and try to get it down to the, all the damaged parts off as much as I can. And then we can come back and take a look at it. But let me show you something here. Now I did see some damage on the back of the gearbox here. If I can get it on here, blow it up. And you can see it's got kind of like a crack right there. And there's another one on the other side. And what happened, there's two bolts that run through. There's a bracket on the back of here. And two bolts that go through to hold this exhaust up. And it bolts onto the back of the gearbox here. It just hovers above it. This thing is really, really heavy. And I think with the heat and the stress of it pushing down like this, made the bolt kind of tip up and kind of want to pop through this aluminum here. I think that can be fixed. Matter of fact, I know it can if you get the right person to do it. It can be repaired, and then the mating surface smoothed out. It should be fine. But we'll see once I get the gearbox tore down. We'll take a look at it. But let me kind of just scroll around. I just got this muffler sitting on there, and I was just going to throw it away when I had it shipped because it's so bulky. And then I said, you know what, I better just keep it just in case. But I might end up trashing it. But we'll see. I don't know what we're going to do with it. And then I know when they shipped it, they took it off and then had it laying up here so it would take up less space. And then they wrapped it. And I'll show you a picture of it right here. And so it'll fit in the back of my truck. And there's a picture right there. Yeah, so let's look under here. Let's take a look. Actually, this looks really, really good here. This is where the differential is inside here. Okay. Let's look over here. See the wiring harness over here. Let's look over here on the side. You see the starter over here. Yeah. There was a filter that was right there. It's gone. It's melted out. It's gone. There's that frame that's still on the motor mount. Of course, the mount's all burnt out, but the block looks good. Let me see here. There's a fuel rail. You can see like all the windings in the injectors. See that? It's crazy. And look at the covering on looks like the wiring for the injectors. Look at it. It looks like brand new still. Wow. There's the thermostat housing. Let's look over here. Yeah, actually these pulleys, I think they can be saved. What I'll do is I'll blast those and get them nice and clean. And then what I'll do is I'll probably get them replated. I can probably do that in the garage. I'll replate those and they'll look like new again. And there's a lot of stuff like right here. Look at the belt right here. There's still a part of it right here. And it looks like aluminum was dripping down the belt, and it just stuck like that. And actually the other belt is still on there. Part of it anyway. It's crazy. And then this right here, a lot of this in here, there was plastic covers that covered up these timing belts. And that's what the remnants of that is, all melted down in here and stuff. Yeah. But this pulley, I should be able to get that cleaned up and then get that replated, and it should look like new again. I looked online. I found a used one for like $560 for one off a salvage yard, but I think I can save that. Wow, look at that thing melted. That pulley there. It's crazy. Looks like it's been underwater for like 100 years. Wow. Hmm. Look at the alternator. Yeah, a lot of these parts I think I can save. There's the power steering pump right here. And these stacks right here, this intake, this is the lower part of it. And of course, the upper is gone. That was right here. That's where it said Ferrari and all that, but it's gone. It's not there no more. Yeah, it's completely gone. Wow. This is cool. This was kind of. Yeah, let's go look under here. Let me see. This is crazy. Yeah, the block looks good. The only thing is, I don't know how good it'll clean up. With all this burnt material covering it. I don't know if it's impregnated its way into the aluminum, but you might be able to blast it, but I don't know if it'll be as clean. But we'll find out. I never cleaned up a burnt engine before, so this is the first time. Look at this. That's the motor mount. What's left of it? Part of the frame right there. Look at the oil line where it just melted right here. Wow, look at that. Look at this. Look at that block right there. Wow. That's a lot of heat right there. Look at that. Jeez. I bet you the clutch still looks good too. I bet you all that stuff looks good. Here's part of the axle was left of it. It's all rusted in there. Of course, the boot all burned away and everything. They just cut it off. Yeah. Gearbox case looks good, except for that back part, but it looks good. And then you have the part of the F1 system. What is this right here? Wow, looks like a part of the intake right here. Look at that. It's all the way down in here. That's crazy. How did it get over here? I bet you this piece right here is part of this F1 system. I bet it's still good inside. It's got a lot of good parts inside there. But we'll know. I'm going to take this out and we'll tear it down. We'll go through it and see what it looks like. And then you can see right here where it all melted. This whole back piece of the gearbox got so hot. But I actually have another gearbox. I have one. I actually have this piece too. I've had it for years. It says Ferrari on the back. Yeah. I actually have another set of heads too. I have a bunch of little parts I've collected over the years for this engine. So, wow. Okay, let's go look at the top real quick. Let's see here. See right here, that looks like the throttle body. What's left of it. Here's a piece of the frame. Somebody must have threw that up in there. It's crazy. Yeah, this looks like what's left of the throttle body. See right here? There's a little electric motor right here. Wow, look at that. Here's an oil pressure sending unit. Well, what's under here? Let me see if I move this. If I get this, I gotta be careful because this stuff is sharp. Probably should have got some gloves on. Let me see here. Wow, this is crazy. Yeah, there we go. Yeah, it's an oil pressure sending unit there. I don't know what happened to the oil filter. Guess somebody took it off. Wow. I see some parts here. I guess somebody must have threw this in when they took the axle off. These are parts that hold the axle on. Yeah, I have to make sure I keep those. And there's the heat exchanger right there. Yeah, I had that fail when I first got my Ferrari 360. What happened, I noticed that there was like oil droplets floating in the overflow tank. You know, I always check the coolant level on there, and I was like, "What is that?" So you know, I wasn't familiar with any of these Ferrari 360 problems. So and then I noticed that there's a vent back here. I think that's it right there. Coolant was coming out of there. So what I did was I checked the gear oil, and when I the drain on the bottom, when I released it, all the coolant was just pouring out of it. It completely filled the gearbox up. So I was like, oh wow, I hope I didn't ruin my gearbox. So then I had to pull it out and completely tear it down and go through it. So yeah, I was able to. I think I caught it just in time. Otherwise, I'd have drove it anymore. It probably would have ruined it. But yeah, I had that tore into a million pieces. So yeah, ended up getting that taken care of. And then look at this here. That's the this is the area. There's that tank there. I think it's called like an aerator. But you know, you have your oil fill cap right here with your dipstick, and then this is where you fill your engine oil at right in here. But of course, it's gone now. It's completely melted away. That's gone. Yeah, you see half of the heat shield here. The other side's completely gone, but covering the boot from the axle right there. Yeah, and then of course you see the mount right here. I remember I had a problem with the mount too. It ripped when I had it, so I took that out and pressed it out, and then I put one for a 430 Scuderia in there. It was a little bit stiffer, I guess, and then more durable. So I put that in there, and it's still in there. That was a long time ago I put that in, but it's still working good to this day. Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, that's it. Let me get over here to this side. This ramp. Yeah, so this will be a fun little project. I think it's gonna be a lot of fun, and then I think we're gonna get it looking really nice when it's all said and done. But worst case scenario, if it doesn't turn out like I said, there's some damage. We'll just make it into a really nice display, and it'll be a nice conversation piece. But if not, then maybe we can get build a running engine out of it. So we'll see. But anyway, all right, guys, we'll let you go, and then, like I said, once I get it, I'll strip off some of these bad parts here, and we'll get it cleaned up a little bit, and I'll come back and I'll show you what it looks like. Okay? So we'll make another video. We'll probably do it in the next couple of days, and then I'll film it and I'll post it. All right, guys. Hope you enjoyed the video. We'll see you in the next one. Have a good day. Bye.